Hi, Capricorn. Hope you're doing well. So, this is the planetary lineup and the degrees and the aspects for February. If you'd like to take a screenshot and then compare it to your own natal chart and see if any of those degrees hits anything in your natal chart. And I probably will speed up the video, so I might sound like I'm talking way too fast, like I'm blah, 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 blah. So, you can always click on the video itself. There's a tools icon, and then slow it down if you'd like. And I will not be touching on all of these aspects, just major ones, because I am going to either do a weekly or a more detailed mid-month scope for you guys. And yeah, and also I wanted to let you know that, sorry about the sirens. Yeah, they go away. I'm in Chicago, and yeah, we're a busy, busy city. And yeah, I mean, the major aspects will be, they're not like a 1 day, 1 hour deal. They reverberate in the background, and you may feel them way after. So what I'm trying to say is, even if you're listening to this after these aspects happen, um, you might still be feeling them. And the second reason I'm telling you this is because I still work full time, and I'm going through my own changes, and I'm trying to, like, serious changes, and I'm trying to get a schedule down right so I can upload these faster for you guys. But yeah, I started backwards because you guys are at the end of the zodiac, and you wait just too long. In any case, that's my disclosure. So let's get into the first aspect. Let me change screens. Okay, Capricorn. So let's start with this first week. And we have quite a few aspects. It is Pisces weather this entire month. It is quite important, as it will dominate, like I said, this whole month. But it also, oddly enough, for you especially, it will dominate um, a lot more months, almost the entire year, going into 2026. And it's a this month is a precursor to the entire year, a somewhat of a movie trailer, a commercial, a condensed version this month of the ending of Neptune and Saturn having been in your third house of communication, commuting, neighborhood, um, siblings, cousins, extended family, um, social media. Um, Again, maybe a closer knit community in regards to social media, maybe, or just as a standalone. Language, learning maybe a new language or different, more specific lexicon. Um, and vision, eyesight is here. And there's so much more, creativity as well. And basically, how you think and how you talk. Teaching can also be grouped here, of what you're thinking, how you're thinking, and how to communicate that. Um, and it's, your need to be heard um, here, and how to clearly and concisely relay information, but in a compassionate way, um, maybe sometimes even nuanced way, maybe even like a double talk, or a dual meaning. So it's quite difficult because especially with your job and your career, and what you're doing on a daily basis. So yes, you have to be clear and concise, and not to lead anyone on, or for you not to be influenced by outside factors. But there has to be like a compassion, and with this different lexicon and nuance. So you can only imagine how difficult that can be, being clear and concise, and being compassionate and nuanced, or taking in that information from others, while trying to be analytical as well. Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting for you, among all the other signs. For you especially, this is going to be very important. And I don't want to like scare you, because you have had Neptune in your third house of communication for the past 12 to 14 years, a long, long transit, um, and you've experienced different things here, which in most instances, there was a blurring of the boundaries, because Neptune is the god of the ocean and mist and fog, and rules the movie and music industry. It's about the siren's call that leads you through the fog into the ocean, and you get lost. But you also had Saturn come in here in early 2023, where you started seeing restrictions, constraints, boundary issues, and lines, in this particular area as well. And that was because now Saturn, if you've heard your head scope, Saturn's purpose here was to throw you an anchor and to pull you back to shore, so that you don't get lost all at sea. Mostly because Capricorn, you are a very how can I say it? Well, you rule government, banks, credit, rules, and you are, ruled by Saturn. So structure is so very important to you, and you are a social climber, but very methodical. Like, if you've seen a goat climbing a steep cliff, it's absolutely amazing how they're so sure-footed, and that's how you go about life. Is you do not rush. You are very, very careful and very steady, in climbing this social ladder, so that if you see a goat on these steep cliffs, no one can really knock them off. And even when they, like a mountain lion jumps up or whatever, and their fall is they don't really fall like to hurt themselves. They can stand their ground. So that's why you're sometimes pessimistic, and yeah, you just want to be precise and analytical. But with communication, you're not, everyone's not like you, obviously, and um, words matter, yes, but there's always also the bigger picture. So what Saturn and Neptune have been working together so hard, in this area of your life, to have you perfect that, and be like an expert in this area, and how to be able to switch from being nuanced but clearly communicating it in a clear and concise way, where you don't rub anybody a certain way. And you are going to be, because what I see is with your career and your job, there is a lot of communication you're doing, a lot of give and take. Um, so so you'll also still be learning even more. You're also going to be getting more tools to perfect this. um, so yeah. Um, so on the first, we had Venus conjunct Neptune and the North Node in Pisces. Venus conjunct Neptune is absolutely dreamy. It is very lovely. Venus brings fortune, money, fame, and love. Um, and in conjuncting Neptune, the god of idealism and dreams and wishes, it's just, it's out of this world. It's head over heels kind of aspect. And which is, yeah, Venus is a very serious sign, and Neptune is a very powerful planet, and it's an outer planet, so it does affect change slowly. Um, and this is, like I said before, when I was explaining to you that even if this passed, even if you're hearing this on later than the first, much later, it doesn't really matter, because this is a powerful aspect, and it is in the background for a very long time, and like I told you, almost all of the year into 2026. But what makes it even more important, in your case and in general, is Venus also is conjuncting the North Node in Pisces. So the nodes are an 18-month transit, and they're karmic in nature. Um, what the nodes do is they work with the outer planets, with eclipses mainly, because their eclipses consist of lunar eclipses and solar eclipses. So lunar eclipses are endings, and then solar eclipses are major beginnings. So in working with the outer planets and the Sirius planet like Venus, these nodes will lunar eclipse things that are outdated and is dead wood in that specific area, which for you is Pisces, your communication and community. To so that when it follows up with a solar eclipse, a new opportunity fills in that vacuum. So yeah, the lunar eclipse prepares you for, it ends something, it eclipses something out of that area of your life, because there needs to be room for this new opportunity, this solar eclipse, to come in. And the nodes are karmic in nature, from 18, 19 years ago. A situation that you dealt with then is reborn again here. I mean, not the same exact situation, because planets 18, 19 years ago were doing different things. Now planets are doing something else. But the theme, the overarching theme, is from a situation about 18, 19 years ago. And the and it's karmic, like I said. So it's whatever you owed in karma points, I guess, or whatever is owed to you, manifests through these eclipses and these node transits. So the North Node is in Pisces, and that's what we're going to be focusing on, to go towards. And the South Node is in Virgo, um, it's usually opposite signs with the nodes, and the south node is what we are comfortable with, we know very well with, and we tend to get stuck there. But it's what you need to release so that, like I said, these new things come in. And I won't be discussing too much about Virgo for you, but Virgo is your ninth house of foreigners, foreign travel, long distance travel, publishing, higher education, philosophy, um, and the World Wide Web. Um, so that's going to be involved. That push and pull, the tug of war between the North and South Node is going to involve these two houses. Um, uh, so that's that. But with this Venus conjunct Neptune and the North Node in Pisces, the other thing I wanted to mention about the North Node in Pisces, the North Node brings in a new person. Um, that is somewhat karmic in nature as well. It may be someone from the past, because Pisces rules the 12th house of the past. Um, it may be someone from the past, but most likely it's someone new. And if you to give you a clue of who it may be, because this person comes in karmically to open a certain door for you, okay, for a new opportunity for you. And if you want to get a clue, a very very small clue, is that we had a partial lunar eclipse in mid-September. And I did do a video on that if you want to look through the playlist. But mid-September, something was eclipsed out of your life, but almost partially. Um, so maybe something about your neighborhood or community, um, something like that. But why I'm hesitating is is because there was a dual option as well then, even with that eclipse. Because it's the sign of the fishes, two fishes swimming opposite each other. So one fish wants to do one thing, but the other fish does another. And yeah, it's something from the past. So it'll give you a small hint, a clue, maybe if this is not making sense to you, what I'm talking about. Um, so if you find yourself in love with someone, or loving someone, or even two people that are very important to you, but are scared somehow, this is a clue, okay? This is quite important, like I said, in regards to your sign, Capricorn, as this will dominate your thoughts, your planning, activity. It also includes your family, um, your parents, siblings, cousins, extended family, a family different than your own, your job and your career, and like I said, your living situation for this year, going into next year, because there is a big move for you, Capricorn. You are definitely moving, even if you have moved recently. This is not that. If you've moved recently, it's temporary. There's another big move for you, because there is a yearning or a longing regarding your safe space, like an ideal home, an ideal family, and a dreamy, supportive, very close knit community, and yeah, living situation. It has definitely something to do with blending of families for many of you, and I've mentioned that in your year ahead. But in any case, I will be talking about it a little bit more a little later, as it will make more sense when you hear the transits for this month. So also this week, the Sun in Aquarius will semi-square the North Node in Pisces. So yeah, see here, Aquarius is your second house of job, income, your value system, who you will and will not sell out for. And many of you have gotten new jobs, or are on the precipice of maybe a promotion or getting another job. And it came through like a group of friends, or a tight group. But and why I'm mentioning like a tight group, I mean, yes, Aquarius does rule the 11th house of friends and groups and associations, but in your case here, they're a powerful group. But it's like a brotherhood, a sisterhood, like a camaraderie here. And there is like a pecking order here as well. There's some kind of a class system here. But they're very, very powerful, um, and very uplifting, very uplifting. You have been elevated, or you will be elevated somehow. And with the semi square in the North Node in Pisces, one of these people, or this small group, might be a part of this karmic people or group that's coming in your life, that's going to be opening this door regarding a community, a neighborhood, because it's Pisces. Um, Squares are tense aspects, but squares are also good because they jumpstart something. They get things moving. I mean, all aspects, and I try to really reiterate, nothing is bad in astrology. It's nothing nothing is a problem. It's how we react to the problem that's the problem. Yeah. So this semi-square, I've mentioned this before, and I've laxed recently in mentioning it. Is do not fear the squares. Squares are good, even oppositions. But yes, they're tense, and this is a semi-square. So this is a quick shift. Okay. So yeah, again, something about your job, your income, and something karmic about your neighborhood. The sun in Aquarius will also semi-square the moon in Pisces. This is a fleeting, like I said, semi-square is quick, and it's the moon. That's a quick transit. The moon only does 2.5 days in a sign. Um, Sorry, I was switching screens. All right, so on the third, the next important aspect is on the third. Mercury in Aquarius will trine Jupiter in Gemini. So again, Aquarius is your house of your job and your income, and Gemini for you is your sixth house of health, habits, routine, scheduling. It's the house where you take care of someone. Small pets can be in this house, and it's your house of chaos and gossip as well. It is ruled by Virgo, and Virgo, like I mentioned, is your ninth house of foreigners and long distance travel, higher education. Um, and there is some mutual reception here because Mercury does rule Jupiter as well. Um, and okay, so and Aquarius also natally rules friends and groups. So this is I'm giving you all this so that it can make sense to your particular situation. So there's friends involved in here with your routine and your scheduling. Your job is involved here. So Jupiter entered Gemini. Oh, and there's also something of a dual option here. Two schedules, two routines. But Jupiter entered Gemini back in May of last year, and you were very very busy between May and maybe August, September. Your routine, your scheduling, you're running around the neighborhood, traffic. Um, there could have been gossip. There could have been a lot of communication because Gemini rules the third house natally of communication and the neighborhood and siblings and cousins. You could have had an opportunity with a sibling or a cousin that you worked on feverishly, or you were excited about it, or it was expanding. Um, and it could have been also in regards to like maybe passive income, because Gemini also rules the social media. But it stalled for some reason. It stalled. It got put to the back burner because you became busy with something else. Plus, Jupiter started retrograding, um, and Jupiter expands everything it touches. So when it retrograded for the purpose of you, because of Jupiter expanding things, it was retrograding for the purpose of you. You might have been overwhelmed because it is a very chaotic house, the sixth house. So that you could review, you could cut out what you don't want, keep what you do want, and so forth. And I'm spying here because of this new job or new opportunity. Schedules also were changed, but yeah, there was one or two opportunities, maybe even four for you, especially that was going on in the sixth house, and it just called. Well, now Jupiter is going to go direct, and it's going to expand again, and your schedule might change again. Or you might pick up again with this opportunity of passive income, maybe with a sibling or a cousin, or a close knit community. Maybe it includes social media. Um, it's going to pick up again. Um, and if you've had a fallout or a problem with a sibling or extended family, it's going to get smoothed out definitely here. But with Jupiter, it's a use it or lose it kind of deal. Okay, it gives you these wonderful opportunities. Jupiter is a benefic planet. It definitely everybody waits for whichever kind of people. Some people will be like all into romance and want that, or some people want like a home to purchase or a car. So everybody waits for Jupiter to come into that area of their life so that it can expand it and bring good luck and optimism. So going back to use it or lose it is starting this month. You are going to go back to those opportunities, and you'll have even more new opportunities. And it's you grab it with both hands, or it's gone. You have until June. Jupiter will be in Gemini until June, and then it switches signs to the seventh house. I'm not going to get into that here, but your seventh house is your house of partnerships. So that's going to be absolutely lovely for you. And Cancer also rules the home and family and the mother. So that's going to be huge as well. Starting in July, it's going to be very good. But with this trine between Aquarius and Gemini, there's an agreement with each other. Um, um, so if these two planets don't agree with each other, here they will. So if these two houses of yours were not agreeing with each other, now they will. Now they will start. You'll get some kind of a message, a thought, or you will be discussing about something that it will start. Being receptive to each other. Just be careful of exaggeration, because Jupiter is the planet of largesse, and it rules. Sorry for the background noise. It rules lucky Sagittarius, and Sagittarius sometimes uh, exaggerates things. Okay, let me start this over. Oh my gosh, everything happened at the same time. There was like noise outside my apartment. My bug was barking. The phone started ringing. Hey, sort of a clue for you, your house of chaos. In any case, yeah, that's uh, with Jupiter and Gemini and Mercury and Aquarius. Um, so yeah, just be careful of exaggeration, because Jupiter does rule Gemini, the hopelessly optimistic sign of the zodiac, but the very lucky sign of the zodiac. Somehow everything works out for Gemini, for Jupiter, for oh my God, for Sagittarius. But they do like to look at the glass half full, even if. I get that picture of with the riots, where I think it was CNN, that reporter was like, everything's fine, and there's like a blaze of fire behind them. That was hilarious. It's like, keep going. It's okay. Everything's fine. It's like, dude, the world is like burning behind you. Sorry. Fire, get it? Sagittarius, fire sign? I don't know. I just wanted to throw that in. Yeah. So just be careful of exaggeration. But definitely something that is maybe beyond your reach, but someone else is able to help you here. But because there's this mutual reception, and Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. Mercury is very, how do they say it, into contracts, agreements. It's very, what's the word I want to, transactional. So it's something like I'll scratch your back if you scratch mine. I have your back if you back me up, something like that. Okay. um, and the next most important aspect that I want to discuss is on the 4th. Venus enters Aries. um, this is huge for you, um, too, because for almost four reasons. One is because Venus does a rare retrograde. It usually doesn't, and it's important for you because Aries is your fourth house of home and family, a very deeply rooted emotional house, and it is already in shadow retrograde, meaning this direct emotion of Venus and Aries will be. Will repeat, as well as it'll go back into Aries in these degrees, and also go all the way back into the last degrees of Pisces. Then it'll start moving forward. So that's what I mean by shadow retrograde. And whenever planets do retrograde, especially serious planets like Venus and Mars, I mean, it's not like your typical, three-time a year Mercury retrograde, where you make a mistake, oops, or you lose something, oops. It's Venus. She's serious, and she's doing the retrograde in two very serious houses for you. Even though the third house, might not be serious for somebody else, but for you, like I said, it dominates a lot. Um, so the other reason is because when serious planets like this do retrogrades, there's something important there that you may miss on the first go around, and because it might get reversed when it does do the retrograde, and you, because you don't have the full story, the full information, so you retrograde to get some more information, and then when it goes direct, you're able to put everything in place and make decisions, because then you have the full story. And the third most important reason for this transit is I want you to pay attention to this transit of Venus, because Venus in Aries is giving you, it's a precursor, and it's also giving you a movie trailer, a commercial of what will happen when Neptune and Pisces leave your third house and enter Aries, your very important, deeply emotionally rooted fourth house of home and family and your parents. Um, because Neptune will enter Aries for the next 12 to 14 years, and so will Saturn. So you'll start on this 20-year journey. But here, this Venus transit is giving you a clue of how it'll start, what the obstacles are, and basically how it will end. Basically, and again, the same thing with Pisces in your third house. The third, I think that was the second, third, or maybe fourth, whatever, important reason is Aries is a fire sign, and she is ruled by the god of war, Mars. Very fearless Mars. And Aries craves excitement and especially independence. And it is the ruler of the first house, so image and appearance. And for you, that's important because, like I said, you're a social climber. How people see you or your family or whatever is very important to you. Um, but it's, like I said, a firebrand. So something about your home, your family, your parents, um, your country, your pride. There's a like a me first kind of attitude. It um, it's about wars, and being first in everything. Um, I mean, again, going back to saying that it might not be al- not aligned with your values, but you might think that that's a bad thing. But there's a purpose for every sign and every aspect and what have you. What I'm trying to say is the universe doesn't hate you for making Aries be the ruler of your fourth house. Aries has a purpose. Its purpose is to go out in front of all of us and fight for what we want. It protects. It's Aries is very compassionate, by the way. It actually fights for the underdog like no other. But yeah, getting back to this Aries excitement and independence, um, what I'm trying to say here is this is not really like a dreamy romance, like, oh, nice, but it's more of a fiery excitement. And if there is something that is ignited here during this transit, well, for one, again, I've given you the different reasons that it is good. But the other thing is when it retrogrades, that might fizzle out for some reason. But then when it goes direct again, it picks up. And yeah, so the fourth reason is because Venus doesn't really like being in Aries. Venus is the proper lady, the very demure, like not demure. She's intense. Venus can be very intense. Um, Venus is like the single mom. She was Cupid's mom, and when Cupid fell in love, she went. She can be impetuous. In any case, I lost my train of thought because I do that. I shouldn't go off my notes. I shouldn't go off script, but I'm just trying. There's thousands of Capricorns out there with different rising signs and different life situations, so I try to like cover many things which you might not like as a Capricorn. Like you're like stick to the facts, lady. But I'm sorry. I like to give you more than just the what it that was one of the reasons I started doing astrology and channel. I don't like giving generals. Like, oh yeah, this transit is hard. Okay, be careful. Do this. I just wanted it to be more personable, where you can get a bite into it. All right, I'm talking too much. Let's move on. So on this day, like I mentioned earlier, Jupiter will station direct in Gemini. It is just stationing here, so I always mention pay attention to these days because a veil is lifted and you clip a view of how this forward motion in Gemini will be about. And it's just now moving. Jupiter is a huge planet, so the movement might be a little slow in the beginning. All right. And then the next important aspect I want to discuss is February 7th. Neptune conjunct the North Node in Pisces. And Mercury in Aquarius will semi-square Venus in Aries. So Venus in Aries sextile. Oh, and Venus in Aries sextiles Pluto in Aquarius. I'm more concerned about the Venus in Aries sextile in Pluto in Aquarius. Like I mentioned, Venus is a serious planet, and Pluto is a very powerful planet. Pluto rules fear and control and power and riches, money. I know I put that in my notes because I know you're all about money. Well, because you're taking care of so many people, so many things. And Venus here is about passion, and in Aries, it's your fourth house of family. So there's discussion with your home and family, and it is lovely and secure. If you've had problems with communication with your family, this can be smoothed out and taken more seriously. And this romance, if it's a romance, more so than a family situation, could be fiery and scary. Or it could be about you're loving your family. You're all about tradition. So the family is really important to you, especially for you. I've mentioned this many times. There's a matriarchal figure in your life that's absolutely core to you. Um, but there's something about fiery and being scared or something scary, and that makes complete sense because Pluto rules fear, and Aries is the god of war. So this is a very nice aspect, though. And like I said, you understand here um, your value system and your home and family, and you understand the fear, or it may be like, oh, it's not fear, it's respect, something like that. Um, but if it's other than family, and if you want to pursue this, even if it is family, it could be really serious. This may also be regarding a professional opportunity that benefits your family. It could be a partner that is of a firebrand personality that you recognize has the same passion as you, um, and maybe a job or a business. And with these two forces, it can really, well, first, it's really serious, and it can really take off and benefit both you and the family to have them on board. Other Capricorns, this could be you maybe recognizing that this individual uh, can read your mind or finish your thoughts, sentences, and you, well, yeah, you realize it could be a powerful partnership. Um, if they would align with your thoughts more. Because, like I said, you're Capricorn, you're an earth sign, and whoever is in your home and family is like a fire sign. So that's why I'm saying, you see the potential, and it is a very powerful potential. But if you can just sync with the messaging with your mind, that's why I said Pisces, your third house is really important for you this year. Um, Let me see. It could be, yeah, for other Capricorns, it could be siblings, cousins that you see in a completely different light, where you might have thought that they may have been not very supportive or not capable of understanding your feelings, and that whatever conversation came up, they made it all about them, maybe. But here you are blown away by their compassionate understanding that you knew they had it in them, but you never thought it would actually come out. And with all these people, there's an exchange of work and ideas, analytics, and creativity. Sorry about that, Capricorn. So yeah, you never thought they had it in them, and you're just blown away by this compassionate understanding. Um, is Well, it's because maybe some of you don't know is that you're not the only one who has gone through this huge shift last year with Capricorn leaving, and these other major shifts that you're going through. Others have as well. So yeah, they're changed somehow, and you appreciate that. And like I mentioned, all these people, there is an exchange of like working, helping with something, and you get creative, ingenious ideas, or analytics and creativity, is exchanged. Like I mentioned, scratch my back and I scratch yours. Um, okay, the next important aspect is on February 9th. Mercury will conjoin the sun in Aquarius. We call it Kazimi. So Mercury finally catches up with all the action that has been going on in with the sun in Aquarius. So here, any missing information or confusion uh, with your job, your income, any lost items, or there's a recovery here of some sort. Um, it could be discovered either through, again, an ingenious like message or text, or someone gives you information, or if there was a loss, there's some kind of a recovery here. Um, a detail or two maybe that you missed about your job, your income, your value system. Um, there's a recovery. Now, on the same day, Mars in Cancer trines Saturn in Pisces. Um, and again, it's Pisces, so pay attention. This Mars in Cancer trine Saturn in Pisces back at the end of September. This is the second time, and the third and final time it will trine again in April 4th, because remember, Mars is retrograde. So the first time this happened, um, Cancer is your partnership house, okay, and inclusive of business, personal, and platonic. Um, Anybody really can be a partner who knows you really, really well, who can hold up a mirror to you. And Cancer also rules natally the home and family, but especially the mother. Uh, and it's emotional because it's ruled by the moon. Cancer is. And Pisces, like I mentioned, is your third house of almost everything but communication and commuting. So at the end of September, there was some kind of a heat, an urgency, and emotional heat and urgency coming through or from um, a partner, and it could have involved your family, your mother. And but there was some kind of a fear with you. Uh, but Saturn in Pisces, remember, Saturn has been in Pisces the last 2 years, so it was building a foundation for your communication system. So it was with this trine, Saturn was approving of you not to be scared, to speak your mind, to use boundaries with your communication, and to crystallize the nuance with the analytical. And you have the power of that because uh, of Saturn. But you may have lost your courage then, um, because of this fear. And now you have some more confidence here. And it's actually coming from a partner, from this family, from this mother figure. What you conceived as, like I said, scary or intimidating was actually being respectful, being, uh, yeah, having respect rather. Now you understand it, and I believe what I'm seeing is your home and family, or a mother or a partner, made you understand that it is not fear, it's respect. And and here you want to believe that, and you want to step into this courage, but you're still hesitant. There's still some fear there, and that's because Mars is still retrograde. Okay, because there's still some information that's missing here. But on April 4th, when Mars is direct and this trine happens again, you will have lost that fear. You will have that confidence with this situation. that you are still somehow fearing. So you still feel like you need more time, and that's just because Mars is retrograde. All right, on February 10th, Mercury in Aquarius will square Uranus in Taurus. Dum dum da dum. The two planets that I fear the most are Pluto and Uranus. And can you tell I laugh when I get nervous? So, well, we've already established what Aquarius is all about, and it's your second house of job and income. It's very, very uplifting, and this new job, this new position, and Mercury here is, you're thinking and talking about job and income and all that. You're trying to set up this streamline, this organized thought. Um, Sorry, I was doing something. Um, Taurus is your fifth house of love, children, creativity. Pets are adorable pets, is here, and um, gambling. But it's your basic house of fun, light romance. It's not serious love, like as in a partnership, like as in a marriage. Um, Uranus is the planet of shock, surprise, and electricity. It it does not do slow and steady wins the race. Um, and Aquarius, and it actually rules Aquarius. Uranus rules Aquarius. So there's mutual reception here, okay, as well. Um, for the past since 2018, for you, for the past 7 years, something specific in your love and romance house, or a combination of all this, you have experienced shocking things, abrupt things. Where you thought you were going with your love, romance, and children and pets has shifted. Not complete, yeah, completely. Now it's completely because it's going to leave Taurus. But abruptly, it's been shifting you. It's been just picking you up where you thought you were going, and boom, shifted you the opposite way. And so, um, and Taurus, it natally rules the second house of money, income, and values. Your value system. Um, and Aquarius natally rules the friendship house, not just yours specifically, but the friendship house, the groups and associations, and your hopes and wishes of the future. The 11th house also can see a second marriage or a third marriage here. So what's going on here is it's all about freedom of what you want to do, inclusive of security, because Taurus, like I said, natally rules the second house of income, but it's all about security. Taurus, we take in. Scorpio, we let out, but Taurus needs to have security buffers. Uh, and Taurus is a fixed sign, so it's very compassionate, but it's very stubborn. It takes a really long time to convince Taurus of something. And then Aquarius is quirky. Um, it is spontaneous. It's an air sign, but it's also fixed. So there's some kind of communication that is very uplifting, but it's static in its way. And then Uranus is very dynamic about your love and romance and children house, but there's also this stubbornness there, um, of moving things. So, I mean, this can translate um, something about a job, income, or your value system, that may translate in a loss of something in your fifth house of romance and children, or a shift of it. Um, because it may have resulted with you wanting to do things your way, or your values not aligning with this new world that you're seeing in your love and romance house with this person, or a child maybe, is taking shape. Okay, the only thing here is because Mars is still retrograde. And I know you'll be like, oh, what does Mars have to do with this? Like I told you, all these planets are working together, and it is my tough job to explain how they all intermix. Um, Something about image, the way this situation is perceived, is not aligning. Plus, you are a cardinal sign, a very powerful cardinal sign. Um, so you like to do things steadily. So you may not like the new rules. Okay, so you may not like this new rule, this new world of what you're seeing with your love and romance house and children, and you want to maybe be stubborn or fixed. Remember, Aquarius is a fixed sign, and it is ruling your values. Um, See what I mean? Oh my God, this is what I mean by I'm going through these changes. That's why it slows me down. Sorry, hold on. I'm so sorry about that, Capricorn, and I wish I could re-record so that didn't happen. But it'll take me longer if I do that. This reminds me of when I was ordering pizza, and it's a hole in the wall, and it's family owned, and their pizza is amazing. It's to die for. But they open late. They open like at 3 to 11 or whatever, and like I said, it's family owned. And one day, I think I called like maybe 5 minutes before they opened or something, and somebody answered, 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock, it's 3 o'clock. Call back then. Click. I was like, oh my god. But then I thought, oh my god, yeah, they're probably going through so much, and this reminds me of me right now, that what I did. Yeah, you gotta laugh, right? Remember, it's not the problem; it's how we deal with it. Okay, so going back to this fixed way that you are, and waiting for it to go back to the old way of doing things, of seeing these things. That's gone. It's a new world now. And you may not like these new rules, and want to be fixated. Um, and that's not bad either. I mean, you can do the new with the old. There's always creative, ingenious ways you can come up with blending these two. Because remember, Pisces has been in your house of thinking um, for the past 12 years, and you are able to put these two things together. So, but the thing is, it would behoove you to try to understand why this new world came about, and that everybody has gone through these huge shifts, which is reflecting. Remember, partners reflect back to us how we're feeling inside. That's the concept of partners are mirrors. Okay. Um, Now, the next major aspect that I want to discuss is on the 11th. Sun in Aquarius will square Uranus in Taurus. So that information, that talk, that discussion, and it's a square. So it's a tense aspect that you had regarding your fifth house of love, romance, children, and creativity a day before. Well, on the 11th, the sun illuminates for you and for others to see what is going on here. And the sun shines a light on all the dark crevices, and it is revealed mostly for you, but others can now see what the situation is about. Um, the next important aspect is on the next day, February 12th. So the 10th, 11th, and 12th, just brace yourself, because it's Uranus is just out of left field. We never can predict what Uranus will do. Um, when it's stationed direct, that's when we had that airplane and helicopter accident over the Potomac. Um, and I've given an example before, and for you, you'll remember this if you're old enough, is when Uranus entered Aries, a fire sign, and Uranus is an electric sign, an air sign. Um, it equals combustion, and it was reflected in the minute and the degree it entered Aries back in 2010 or 11, I'm not sure, but we had the Fukushima nuclear blast. So yeah, Taurus is just not traditional. I told you. I mean, Uranus and Pluto scare the bejesus out of me, but don't let it scare you. It's been in your seventh house for 7 years, so, or you in your fifth house for 7 years, so you're used to this energy a little bit, hopefully. So on February 11th, the Sun in Aquarius will square Uranus. Oh, I already mentioned that. So on the 12th, we will have the Moon in Leo, this time square Uranus in Taurus, and these degrees, if you notice on the chart it's those faded 23 degrees that we had all that fallout and hullabaloo back in October, November. Um, yeah, interesting. Um, So yeah, the Moon in Leo squares Uranus and Taurus at 23 degrees as well. And Leo is your eighth house of joint finances, intimacy, um, the past, inheritance, death and rebirth, taxes, government benefits, and the way other people value you. And it's usually the house where you gain lump sums of money from others. It is also about banks and credit. So, and Leo also rules the fifth house of love, romance, children, and creativity. Um, so something about your joint finances, intimacy, um, an ending or a beginning. Well, an ending more so because we have the full moon in Leo just a few minutes after that, a few hours after that. Um, Joint finances, intimacy, endings, the past, children, love, romance. That is the aggressor in squaring Uranus, who wants to bring change, shock, and electricity to your fifth house of fun and light romance. And the Taurus, again, natally rules the second house of job, income, and value system. So that's all in the mix, Capricorn. And then a few hours later, we do have a full moon in Leo. which will oppose the sun in your second house of job and income and values. It's a tense aspect. It's a a surprise brought about by an abrupt action, um, or realization, or an emotion that comes about and causes this abrupt, um, tense aspect, which leads to this ending in your eighth house of joint finances, and intimacy, and it can have, and it's somehow related to love, romance, and children, because it's just opposing, um, your value system, your job, your income. It's opposing the sun, but don't forget Pluto is here, and Pluto is extremely powerful here, and Pluto also rules control. So your values, your job, your income, uh, you have the power there, and you know that this is your control mechanism. In any case, look to see what happens, and if you can avoid, permanent decisions, try to avoid it, these few days, this day, because it's the moon involved, so there's emotions involved, and as well, it is, something is hidden from you, because the moon is at night. It is hidden, even though it's a full moon, and a lot of people say it illuminates things. I disagree. There is still something hidden from you that you don't know about, and it might be lost in translation with the emotions involved. Okay, Capricorn. All right, I'm not gonna harp on that. Let's move on to the 14th. Mercury enters Pisces. Yay! I think yay, but yeah, yeah, yay, yay. um, so again, yeah, I've discussed what Pisces is for you. Now the discussion starts. Um, a lot of discussion, a lot of thinking. Something happened here in the beginning of the month, the first 2 weeks, that is leading to a lot of discussions, the last 2 weeks. And like I said, I'll do weekly or mid-monthly and go in more detail, about it. But there's going to be, some discussions will be tense, but it mostly will be very, empathetic, um, very intuitive, almost psychic, because Pisces is really strong since it's hosting its own ruler, Neptune. So yeah, there's a duality of speech again, or thinking, because we have the sign of the two fishes, and it is about something relating to the past, to your psyche, maybe taking care of someone. Okay, um, and it could also ironically relate to money. Yeah, it's weird, but Neptune has relation to money. There's money here. Um, you might say something but mean something else, and you might exaggerate to be compassionate. Um, and this is important because this will be the first retrograde. Of course, it will be, right? First retrograde of 2025. And yeah, it has all to do with Neptune leaving Pisces and then coming back to Pisces at the end of the year. So again, pay attention to this Mercury transit. It will repeat 3 times because there is something very important here, that you'll miss the first go around, and you'll get some more feedback the second go around, and then finally in the third going direct, you'll get the full story there. And it's normal. I would expect for this year, especially for Mercury, to do a retrograde in Pisces, because there will be confusion in thinking or talking. Like I said, missed info, so we will revisit to get the complete story. But yeah, starting the 14th, there's going to be talk with cousins, siblings, extended family, your neighborhood, your community, commuting, cars, social media, um, and for you, especially out of all signs, it has to do with your daily life and routine. Um, and you might, a lot of you will say, "Well, that's the sixth house. What are you talking about?" Just trust me on, trust me on this. There is a lot of communication with your daily routine, and it's somehow connected to your job. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. On the 17th, Mercury in Pisces will semi-square Chiron in Aries. I usually don't mention, asteroids in the general monthly, scope. I'll probably do it in a weekly or mid-month, but I don't. But here I'm doing it, for you, because again, Pisces is involved, and it's Mercury. So there's thinking or communication regarding your neighborhood, neighbors, siblings, cousins, um, commuting, your daily routine, your work. There's talk here, communication, learning, but it there's a tense aspect, that triggers a wound, a hurt, regarding home and family. Um, it can be It can be, I think I mentioned this in last month's preview, but can have to do with, it can be like almost hurtful in a nostalgic way. Um, I was talking to Capricorn, Aquarius, and I was saying my mother, God rest her soul, when I used to be angry and talk and I hate my life, I hate this, and she'd be like, huh, or laugh, and I'd be like, what? Why are you laughing at my pain? And she said, there'll come a day where you'll long for these days. Yeah, you'll be nostalgic for them. Sorry, I cried during the Aquarius thing too. Um, but yeah, some wound will be triggered here, but don't run away from this. Own it. Um, it's very important to you. If you allow yourself to dream and use the art of communication and thinking and listening, really listening to a viewpoint different than your own, you will be able to come up with like a creative, compassionate way of going about it. And you're also, there is something about that you're learning through your job, some kind of arts, healing, teaching, um, faith, and it's touching all these weird areas like entertainment, hospitality, sports, all these areas. And yeah, Saturn here is Saturn is also in the background. It's still in Pisces, so Saturn is still here and helping you manifest something that you're yearning for through restrictions. He has been busy helping you build that foundation, helping you focus your imagination. Okay, so the next day, the Sun enters Pisces. Yay! I think yeah. The Sun illuminates um, I mean, it's your normal yearly sun entering Pisces, but not this year, of course, and especially not for you, because I told you Pisces is important to you. So Capricorn, as soon as the sun enters Pisces, it is illuminating an ending. And you might say, why an ending? It's the sun entering Pisces for two reasons. One is Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. So we end things here. We tie up loose ends because we're anticipating a new beginning when the sun enters. Then Aries, so you can think of this as when I say ending, you can think of this as spring cleaning. Okay, but it's more than that. Since, like I told you, Neptune will be leaving Pisces in March, so it's giving you a picture of this ending, and it might be very cathartic. These next few days, very healing. Um, but let's move on. So, excuse me. Also, like I said, I don't mention asteroids, but I'm taking special care with your sign because I've made it more than clear. You are one of my favorite signs. Juno will enter Sagittarius. Juno is the asteroid that is about commitment and marriage and partners. It can be platonic and business. And Sagittarius is your 12th house of secrets, behind the scenes, the past, taking care of someone. So there's some kind of commitment that you're going to be entering into or discussing. On the 20th, Mercury in Pisces will square Jupiter in Gemini. Uh, Squares are tense aspects, but do not fear the squares. I used to say that a lot in my other, previous videos, but I've been lax in saying that recently. So I'm going to say that. Do not fear the squares. Do not fear anything. The universe does not hate us. Planets do not hate us. They bring about, yeah, sometimes uh, hard changes, but it's to our benefit. Um, and if you go with the flow, it won't be tough. But if you resist change, that's when you go kicking and screaming, and it won't feel nice. So on the 20th, these are emotionally charged words and communication. Or if it's not with somebody, it's within yourself. There's a struggle. Um, and there's mutual reception here, though. So the square can almost be helpful because Mercury rules Gemini, but Mercury is in Pisces. And Jupiter in Gemini, squaring Jupiter in Gemini, Jupiter is the co ruler of Pisces. So there's mutual reception. It's to the benefit of both of these areas of your life to benefit from this square. Pisces, again, you know what it is, but also remember it's your 12th house of the past and behind the scenes. Drugs, alcohol, confining spaces. I don't know why prisons are prisons and hospitals. I'm not saying maybe you're a drug dealer. Oh my god, probably think I'm the weirdest, craziest astrologer. But there's thousands and thousands of Capricorns, millions of Capricorns, and thousands of scenarios. So that's why I'm saying maybe you're dealing something with somebody else. You're experiencing it through somebody else because not not my patrons. They're not going to be no drug dealers. But again, it's a mutual reception in these two. And Gemini does rule as well natally. Well, for you, Gemini is your sixth house of daily routines and habits, but natally it rules also the third house of community. Yeah, there's, you guys have to tell me what this is about because now I'm going crazy. But yeah, emotionally charged words, communications that will not sit well regarding your community, your commuting, or your daily activity, and it may come from you or it may be about you. But after this dust storm, there is a feeling of, okay, maybe we went too far with hurling objective words, because then we have the Sun in Pisces semi-sextile Pluto in Aquarius. See, your job is involved with this. You guys really have to tell me what this is about. On the 23rd, there's a lot going on, but the most important one I want to concentrate on is Mars will station direct in Cancer. Also on this day, we have Mercury in Pisces trining Mars in Cancer, and also semi-squaring Pluto in Aquarius, your second house. And then we have the Ceres, um, the planet of compromise and negotiating, enter Pisces. So this day translates in some tense but serious discussions and agreements. Uh, they may start out tense and sensitive, or it may have to do with the day before's discussion, because there was, yeah, I already explained that to you with the Jupiter and Gemini. That here you may think that you want to say something that you didn't get a chance to say yesterday, the day before, or someone else felt that feels that way. Um, but then this leads. Then after that, Mars will station direct uh, in Cancer, and Cancer again is your seventh house of relationships, partners, personal, platonic, and business. And Cancer also rules the home and family sector and the matriarch, and it's emotional. So, sorry, with this stationing of direct, Mars says, okay, um, this I've had enough of all this talking and feeling and mushy stuff. I have the full story. I have everything I need. Sorry about that. Um, I have the full story. I have all the information I need. Now it's time for. Have you seen that meme where it goes, no, 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 war? Because Mars is the god of war. No, I'm just joking. But Mars only knows a certain direction, and it's forward and with urgency and heat. So, plus, if there was anything that there was a fallout in regarding that area, now Mars will go forward rectifying that. Remember, Mars rules Aries, and Aries is very compassionate. It works for the underdog. Um, so yeah, now the full story with your Cancer-related house, and thus the confidence to push forward. Um, and it'll start slow because it's just coming out of retrograde, but then the rest of the transit will be faster and faster. On the 25th, Mercury will conjunct Saturn and Pisces. More serious talk, Capricorn. Um, More serious emotional talk. And I know you don't like emotions, but you are going to benefit from this. Some will be here. Some of you might be giving up, um, because Saturn is your ruler, yes, um, but he has been restricting you, constraining you, pulling you back, setting up boundaries regarding your communication and your commuting. Again, for your own safety, for a purpose, for having you manifest this idealism you have. Um, and Mercury is, this is Mercury's actions here is heightened because it's conjunct Saturn and Pisces. But it's a hard aspect. It can be a very constraining aspect, and it can be very frustrating. Almost like, why don't people understand me, or why can't I explain what I'm thinking? It's one of these things. Um, and like I said, some of you will be like, "Ugh, I just give up. I give up. It's not meant to be." Um, but if you remember what I talked about with Mars trining Saturn for the third and final time on April 4th, that should give you like the staying power, the endurance to power through this. And you are able to do that because you are very comfortable with Saturn. He's your ruler. You know when to shut up. You know when to pull back. You know when to use self-restraint. Um, uh, but I'm just mentioning it here because this is the finale, the grand finale, the hurrah, the last push through. And you might get that like, okay, I give up. But hang on. Otherwise, it could also be like when you do give up, it finally magically happens. I don't know if you've ever experienced that. I'm sure you have, but it's like the energy of acceptance, compassionate acceptance, um, that cathartic healing you have, and you're like, okay, I get it. The lesson is learned, and then Saturn releases those restrictions because you finally understand, or there's an outside influence that was like, oh, because with Uranus and Taurus, there's this is all interrelated. Something might happen where you'll be like, I get it, and that's when Saturn releases those restrictions because you finally do get it. All right, on the 27th, there is a new moon in Pisces, and this new moon is powerful for a lot of reasons. Again, it is a new emotional way of viewing an ending, a culmination, a fruition of your past efforts as you are anticipating this new thing that's coming in next month regarding your home and family. Um, and even though it's Neptune, it still is Aries. It's a fire sign, so it'll be different. And this new moon is also important, is because this new moon will be the full lunar eclipse in Pisces with because in the node 6 months down the line. So remember what I said about the node: major beginnings and endings and beginnings. So this is the beginning of the end here. Okay, and like I mentioned, anticipating the new is why we're doing the ending here. Moon in Pisces will also square Jupiter in Gemini. Um, so yeah, something about a routine, having to go back and forth. Um, Something happens here where there's a rush, there's a tense aspect. Be careful of driving, please. And then we also have Mercury in Pisces sextiling Uranus and Taurus. Yeah, there's something that'll happen suddenly, um, and it's a new moon, so uh, yeah, it's the beginning of the end of something here, Capricorn. And then the final day, Sun in Pisces sextiles Venus in Pisces. So this is lovely, but it's again, it ends in a compassionate release, a resolution, um, consolation, something that you exhale. You're able to exhale, and that's why I mentioned this is very important because obviously, like I said, it involves all this other stuff for you, but also because this month is a precursor to the end of the year, because and all these planets will retrograde back to the previous signs. And Neptune and Saturn, yes, leave Pisces in March and April and enter Aries, but they will return to Pisces in the fall. So will Uranus. Uranus will leave Taurus, but then it will go back into Taurus in the fall. And all the other planets, more major planets, will retrograde as well, even if they change signs. They'll retrograde in those same signs, like Jupiter. Jupiter will leave Gemini and go into Cancer, but it will retrograde in Cancer in the fall. So there's a huge emphasis on the return of that of what's going on right now. But and I'm saying it to all signs: do not kick your TV, do not throw your telephone away. You will return to these things to only to um, tie up loose ends, and it'll be a different world. You will be a different person when we revisit these things again. And they're very important. There's reasons for these planets to revisit these things because when we're making huge shifts like this, uh, it's the saying like you have to know the past in order to go into the future. So yeah, we go back, we resolve things, we reconcile, we find consolation, and we are able to tie up loose ends and have compassionate understanding and healing. Most importantly, healing, because you don't want to go into the future with baggage. You don't want to hold on to two things. You don't want to hold on to the pain. Because if you hold on to that, it's the saying like, if you hold on to two things, you will lose both things. So it is necessary for us to revisit all this. Okay, I'm going on and I'm probably over an hour right now. I hope you found this entertaining, Capricorn. And these transits, please don't fear them. And it's not like heavy duty as it was with your with Pluto and Capricorn, and there's very very uplifting energy here, and excitement and fun and family, and there's reconciliation, there's blending of families for you guys especially. There's movement. There's again, you're gonna have another move, but it's gonna be very nice for you, very idealistic. So there's a lot to look forward to, and you're gonna get super super busy. But please pay attention to February. It tells you a lot you need to know. All right, Capricorn, I will talk to you soon.